Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we will now have full reaction to Barça versus Real Sociedad in the Copa del Rey quarter-final. Obviously, yesterday we spoke very briefly after the game and in quite hushed tones. I appreciate all of you that tuned into that video, but now it's time for the full reaction where we're going to be talking about the star man on the day, Ousmane Dembélé, but also what his fine form may mean for Raphinha. It's all coming up. Thanks for joining me, guys, even here on holiday. I appreciate it. So let's do it. Because indeed, on Wednesday night, Barça made it through in the Copa del Rey, beating Real Sociedad by a single goal to nil. But obviously the performance was much more than that, in my opinion. Also on the night, Osasuna, incredible win for them there in extra time against Sevilla. And that was significant because it was our very own Abde that scored a 99th minute winner in that game. Now, of course, tonight we've got Valencia taking on Ernesto Valverde's Athletic Club, and also the Madrid derby, Real against Atletico, as one of the Madrid clubs will be knocked out at the quarter-final stage, and then we'll be finding out who we're going to be playing in the semi-final, which then will be across two legs. But like I say there, Barca's performance at the Camp Nou against Real Sociedad, for me, it was very dominant. That's the one word that I really used to describe that performance last night, and it wasn't just because of the Real Sociedad red card. Obviously, that helped us. It's not always a guarantee, though, that against 10 men, you're going to be dominant, that you are going to have, the majority of the game. I thought we did really well from the first whistle. We really put pressure on them. We had some good attacking play down both wings as well. It was a very balanced performance, I felt, from Barca. But I think even as well as we did play, guys, one thing that we have to say is that it still got nervy at the end. That is something that we do continue to see here. Even despite the brilliant performance, the dominance, it could have all been undone. It could have all been undone there with one moment of mistake or nerves. And I'm happy that our defence is able to bail us out and that Ter Stegen again made key saves at key times. But that's where the one element of improvement still remains for this team. In terms there of scoring more than one goal, in terms there of putting a game to bed. Because I think once we can do that, once we can be more clinical, once we can rack up the goals and really put ourselves out of sight, that's when you then start talking about this team being unstoppable. And that's the aim. But I do think, guys, that when you are looking at this performance right here, one of the standout things for me actually was the lineup from Xavi and the way that this lineup, again, put in that level of performance. Because obviously it was the same there than what we saw against Real Madrid in the Super Cup. That's what we asked for. Before the game we were saying, this now can be our team. This can be our go-to 11. And suddenly, that's what Xavi has in mind. Suddenly now we're seeing things clicking into place. And for the first time this season, I feel as though we have a starting lineup. We have, if there's a big game and a big occasion, we have a team that's our go-to. And that is really important now, because I think all season long we've been searching for some consistency. We've been searching for some sort of continuity. And it's the first time here that Xavi has had all of his players available, that they haven't been injured, suspended, all of that kind of stuff. He's got them there, and now he's using them on a consistent basis. And now we're going to start to string together some big performances. Of course, we're still going to see rotation, we're going to see players come in, players go out as the games go on this season, but when it really matters, when those big games against big teams come about, this team right now, it is picking itself. And when you are talking about our best performers, and indeed one of those who is certainly picking himself in the team right now and making himself undroppable, it's Ousmane Dembélé. And what I want to say about Dembélé, before we even talk about his performance against Real Sociedad, I've been really impressed with him now, actually, over the past few weeks. Ever since we've really changed the system, where we've had maybe two forwards instead of the traditional three at Barca, I think he's actually adapted really well to that. And what we've seen from him is a bit of discipline in his game. Because you think back to the Super Cup there against Real Madrid, he wasn't the star name in that game. He wasn't the one that got all the headlines from that performance. But even then, I was happy with his performance. I was happy with the way that he was really dedicating himself to that new role. And he did look as though he was focused. He was really working on making better and smarter decisions, which is what you're asking for from Dembele to really grow and improve his game. And you just look at last night's performance. When he is in that mood, he's unplayable. You can't stop him. It doesn't matter what defence you're up against there. It doesn't matter who you're going to match him up with one-on-one. When Dembele gets his mind in that place, and when he's able to go at you in the way that he did, It is incredible to watch. He is certainly up there as the best winger in world football, in that mood, in that form, and that's what he can do to you. And I think certainly for Dembele, he is somebody who's completely changed around his fortunes, who has really worked hard for that as well. The trust that Xavi has put in him, he is repaying it. And you can't fault him right now in the way that he's gone about his game, in the professionalism, all the stuff we've asked of him. He continues to deliver. And with that contract expiring in 2024, that's certainly going to be in the back of the club's mind. They're already thinking about the renewal. They're already thinking about those talks, which are going to start very, very soon. But the line right now from the club is, there is no question about it. They want to keep Dembele. They want to extend his contract at this club. And with those kinds of performances, of course, we want to see him in this team. However, when you're looking at that right wing position, when one player is thriving, another may just be suffering. Because one player who obviously has not benefited there from Dembele's form or the change in system from Xavi, it has to be Raphinha. He is the one who is really, really missing out right now. He only got 12 minutes yesterday at the very end of the game. His difficulties at Barça are very much continuing. And this comes after this week. Barça actually met with his agent. They met there face-to-face with Deco earlier on this week. When his situation, his future at the club was discussed in that meeting, Barça apparently said to Deco, we're not really that happy. We're not satisfied with what we've been seeing so far in his career from Raphinha. And I think on the flip side of that, though, Deco probably went back to the club and said, okay, but my client needs more opportunities. And I just think right now, it's a massive second half of the season already for Raphinha at this club. Because especially now, if we are going to persist with this system, if there are only going to be two forwards on the pitch for the majority of Barca games, suddenly he's got to work even harder. Even when we had three forwards at times, he was finding it difficult there to play with Dembele, but even now with two, it's got even harder for him. He's going to need to produce something very, very special to be in with a shout. But at the end of the day, guys, what I want to say about this is, isn't that what we wanted? Isn't that what we've been saying now over the past few seasons at Barca? If you want to be in this team, you have to perform. Every single player that we're seeing right now in this lineup, in our best team, they're thriving. They are putting in quality performances. And if you're going to now dislodge one of those players, you've got to match that level. You've got to come to the table and show that, yeah, I can do that too. I can give something to this team as well. And that doesn't only go here for Raphinha. It goes for all of the fringe players right now that we're seeing on the outside, but they can work their way back in. If you are able to come into training with the right attitude, with the right application, and then when you get your chance, when you're coming on in games, you've got to be ready. You've got to snatch these chances, because right now we have a team that's in form. We have players who are in form. But that is what we've wanted. That is what we've craved. Competition for places and real depth. That is what every top team must demand. So that right there, guys, is indeed some more reaction to Barça against Real Sociedad. Sorry again there that I couldn't bring you the immediate full match review after the game like usual. Obviously, like I say, I am on holiday right now, but as always, I do want to keep you guys updated whenever possible and certainly continue with the uploads when I can. Thank you indeed, like I say, for joining me. I really appreciate all of your support and all of you guys coming back here on the channel. I will see you soon, as hopefully these Barça performances, they're going to continue, and this momentum will keep on growing. Thanks again, and I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.